5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy Easter, everybody, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Fletch, and what I love to do more than anything in the world is share my passions with you guys and help you guys enjoy the things that I enjoy. So this week, if you couldn't already tell from the green jacket on me, one of my favorite weeks of the year, we're about to embark on the Masters, the absolute pinnacle of golf, the greatest tournament in the history of golf, and it's going down this week. I'm going to break it down for you. Some things you may already know about me if you've been to the channel before. I love slow pitch softball. I love music. I'm also an avid golfer. My dad had a golf club in my hand before I could walk. Something we share. It's something I love very deeply. So I love the Masters. I love golf. And if you haven't seen my Super Bowl video, I'm also an avid sports bettor and DFS player. So I am going to break down exactly what I am looking at the Sunday before the Masters for a breakdown to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at so you guys can also enjoy one of the most amazing experiences, as Jim Nantz says, a tradition unlike any other. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right, guys, if I look a little bit different now, I am re-recording this whole portion of the video now on Monday morning. So more things have come out. The entire field is now updated on DraftKings, and yeah, just more information. And also, I had a little issue with last night's recording as well, so it just worked out this way. I'm going to do this whole portion of the video over, and yeah, so you guys get the best possible content that I have to deliver. So we're starting out here on DraftKings Fantasy, and I'll bounce over to Hard Rock Bet a little bit as well. That's the sports book that we have available in Florida. As always, again, if you're in a different state, take it a little bit with a grain of salt. But the odds should be pretty similar, so I don't think it's really going to be all that weird. So before I really dive in here, I do want to throw this out. I know that DraftKings, and I'm not paid to say this, I just want to, again, give my followers the best information possible. I don't think this is just for established players. I'm pretty sure this promotion is running for everybody with DraftKings right now. On the fantasy side, if you deposit $10, you can, I think between now and Thursday, if you deposit $10, you get a free entry into the Milli Maker for the Masters, which is awesome. One of my favorite ways to put a little skin in the game and make the Masters just a little bit more fun to watch. Again, $10 really isn't much. And again, an entry into the Milli is $10, which is awesome. That's one of the best Milli Maker entries that you're going to see for anything. I think the Super Bowl was like $20, so this is half the price of that. And for $10, you get 2 entries. You get the ticket as well as you can put an entry in yourself. So let's jump right into it. So at the top of the board, we have 4 guys in the 10+ K range. We've got Scheffler, Rory, Bryson, and Jon Rahm. And as you can see, there's actually quite a bit of price. I guess you could say like discrepancy might not be the word, but there's a pretty big jump in price as you go from Bryson to Rory and then Rory to Scotty. And honestly, this may be a hot take. I don't really know. I don't really like the top 2 guys on the board. I mean, look, Scotty Scheffler. Look, his last 2 outings were a little bit better. T24 at the API, T22 at the Players. Scotty hasn't played in a couple of weeks. He withdrew from one of the tournaments in Texas that he was supposed to play. Best wishes to Scotty and his wife Meredith. She just gave birth, I guess I should say, to their second child. But Scotty just, again, for a guy that's at 14,000, I just don't see him winning. And at that price tag, he almost has to win to kind of pay that off. I mean, again, look, I fully expect Scotty to make the cut and play 4 days and play well. I just don't see Scotty winning. His game has just been a little bit off. He's been a little off with the putter. Again, that's not to say, like, he's Scotty Scheffler. If you want to play Scotty, do it. he's not a play for me on this slate, both on the betting side as well as the fantasy side. I'm full fading Scotty this week. And honestly, I kind of feel the same way about Rory. I mean, he's a little more playable with his price, but I'm just not in love with how Rory's been playing this year. He won the Masters last year. It's a very hard thing to win back-to-back Masters. I think Tiger might be one. I think there's a few guys that have done it, but very hard thing to do. And I don't love where Rory's game's at right now. And again, if I'm going to spend up north of 10K, if I'm going to get to the 5-figure priced guys, it's going to be Bryson or it's going to be Rahm. And again, I keep saying this. I'm on Bryson basically every year. He's been in the top 10. I think he had T5 and T8 or either T5, T8 or T5, T6 in his last two finishes at the Masters. And look, it's really funny. I saw somebody post a TikTok this morning saying that Bryson won't ever win a Masters. I am completely 180 degrees on the opposite side of that. Bryson will 100% win a Masters. Mark my words. He will do it. It's just a matter of time. And whether it's this year or in the future, I don't know. But here's what I will say. I think of all players in the field, maybe not. There's a couple other guys that I do really like. But I feel probably the most confident about Bryson. The way he's playing on Live, he's, again, played well. He hasn't won recently. But again, you look at Live stats, which I don't have up right now. He is, I will actually, you know what? I'm going to pull that up because I should have it up. Bryson DeChambeau's number one in Eagles. Not that that's incredibly relevant, but he's top 3 in greens and regulation. He's up there on the list for birdies as well. I think, honestly, number 3 in greens and reg, which is absolutely huge for the Masters. And again, he's a guy I fully expect to be threatening to win this tournament. And again, to pay 5 figures for somebody, I want them to be threatening to win. And I wholeheartedly believe that Bryson will be there. One thing we've noticed the past few years with the Masters, driving distance has become a bigger thing. It just is, as they've lengthened that course, guys who can drive it longer and have shorter approaches into those greens carry an advantage. They just do. So Bryson has that. And we know he can make a lot of birdies. He can threaten for eagles on the par 5s. I love Bryson. I do. I will be on him once again this year and probably into the future. I like Jon Rahm as well. He's one of the best players right now in Live Golf. No one really, he kind of flies under the radar a little bit, even though he is a Masters champion, just because, again, he's kind of playing on Live. And again, I guess he played twice on the World Tour at the end of the year, T13, T9. T2s in both of his last 2 tournaments on Live and a T5 before that. I mean, you look at Live, he's number 1 on the Live Tour in birdies. He's number 1 in greens and regulation. Obviously, he hits the ball a long way. And again, those 2 guys at the top of the board are my favorites. If I'm going to go, like I said, into that spend-up range, I'm going to DeChambeau and Rahm. Those are the 2 guys that I'm rolling with this week. Stay hydrated, folks. It's important when you're talking a lot. As we move into the 9Ks, this is a really interesting range. I love Ludwig Oberg, and I know I'm not alone in that sentiment. I'm sure he will be relatively popular at that price. You may even argue that he should be 10K, but he's just absolutely crushing it. He's a guy that I would go as far as to say this year he's going to win a major. I don't know which one it's going to be. Maybe the Master. Maybe it's not the Masters. But I think it very well could be. I think you're going to want to have exposure to Oberg. He, more likely than not, will be kind of chalky, meaning his ownership should be pretty high, but I think for good reason. You look at his results this year. Last 3 tournaments, he's been in the top 5 of all of them. He's got a teeth. That was a World Tour. Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, he's just playing spectacular golf right now. What's a little bit interesting about Oberg, and I'll pull up his stats here, if I can spell his name. So we look at Ludwig's stats, and he just, he's just been one of the elite players on tour. He had a good chance to win this past weekend. Kind of got derailed a little bit. Strokes gained on approach 36, stroke gained off the tee 23rd, strokes gained total number 10 on the tour. And he's been very good around the greens, which is huge. And that was kind of what sort of derailed him a little bit yesterday. Was he was at least in the second round, because they played close to 27 holes yesterday because of a rain delay. He was struggling to hit greens, and he kind of turned it on at the end of the round where he started to play a little bit better. But he was missing, he was able to get up and down. And again, that's going to be important at the Masters. Obviously, one of the things we're looking at is guys that can really hit greens. That's a big kind of separator point for guys at the Masters. But I feel really good about Oberg. And again, you just look at it like he's one of the best scoring guys. If we go to just back to the overall stats for the PGA Tour this year, and I mean, top 10 in strokes gained total on the tour. Like, again, he's just been one of the best players. He's threatened at the Masters 2 years in a row. Let's look at his Masters history here. So 2025, he was 7th in his first Masters appearance. In 24, he placed second. He plays well at this course, and yeah, that kind of thing, it's going to play. So I love Oberg. He's one of my favorite spend-up options, I guess you could say, on this. I guess at under 10K is not really a spend-up option, but honestly, one of my favorite plays overall for the Masters. As we go down a little bit, like, look, I don't have a problem with Xander Schauffele. Like, I think if you want to play Xander, I'm pretty okay with it. His numbers have been solid this year. He's played well. He's one of the best players on tour. Maybe you could argue priced a little bit too cheap. But, I mean, I think the selling point on Schauffele is he's a pivot off of Oberg, which, again, I get it. But to me, again, if I'm in that price range, I'm probably trying to spend the extra $200 in just going to Oberg. Okay, so Colin Morikawa has lost his injury tag here. He's listed in the field. He's been dealing with a back injury. He hasn't played in weeks. I'm not touching that. Tommy, look, I don't mind Tommy Fleetwood. He's playing good golf. He just doesn't really excite me. He just doesn't. I mean, not that he's got good history at the Masters, but again, of guys in this range, there's just other guys that I like so much more, and that's what's kind of going to take me off of Tommy as we go a little bit lower. Cam Young is a guy that I really like in this price range. He won the Players his last time out, took 2 starts before that, 3rd at the API, 7th at the Genesis. Like, this guy is just playing fantastic golf right now. And if we take a look at Cam Young's numbers, I mean, 23rd approach the green, 4th in strokes gained off the tee, 8th in strokes gained total on tour. Like, this guy's playing really good golf. The one thing that is a little bit interesting with Cam is his history at the Masters has been a little bit spotty, which, again, I don't love. But, again, it's not going to deter me. He missed the cut last year, which, again, I don't think last year was a phenomenal year for Cam. He's playing a lot better this year than he did in years prior. And, again, 2024, he was T9. 23 was T7. So last year, again, was unfortunate for Cam. But, again, he's got the experience at the Masters. He's been in the top 10, as you just saw, twice at the Masters. So I like Cam Young a lot. Again, and right below him, I like Justin Rose a lot as well. I don't think his season stats really, or not, I'm sorry, that his season results really tell the whole tale. I don't want to rely too heavily on stats from the TGL, but Rosie did win the TGL with LA Golf Club, and he played phenomenal. Both he and Tommy, but Justin Rose really stood out. And like it's kind of crazy to say this, but he's playing some of the best golf of his career at 45 years old. He is. And the guy thrives at the Masters. He's been a runner-up 3 freaking times. 3. And again, because of his age, you might argue and say maybe he won't ever win. But, God, I fully expect Rosie to be threatening on Sunday. I really do. And I think as a fantasy guy, I at 9,100, he's one of, if not my favorite guy in this price range. Take a look a little bit into his. I mean, look at this. 9th on tour, strokes gained approach the green. He's just, again, he's one of the elite guys in the field in that range. He can definitely putt. And his strokes gained off the tee is low. It might just be a driving distance thing, which sometimes that can skew that stat a little bit. But I really like Rosie, especially for a fantasy play this week. He just, again, there's something about the Masters that guys that play well at Augusta just continually do that. And Rose is one of those guys, even being one of the older guys in the field for a guy that's still a full-time tour player. As we kind of move down into, again, Pat Reed, I'm not really interested. I don't know. I think the last time he played was like a World Tour event at the end of last year. Look, he's not a bad play. I don't know how much. He is a former champion, so that might gain him a little bit of ownership. But again, for me, if I'm in that range, I'm spending up to Rose or Young. I just am. And as we start to get down into the 8s, like, I'm not interested in Victor Hovland. It just hasn't been a great year. His last start out, I think he missed the cut at Valspar. Like, I'm not interested in Hovland. Decky is a former champion. And, look, a great player. I fully expect him to play 4 days on the weekend. But, look, he's priced above Matt Fitzpatrick. Like, this guy, there's a couple of guys on this list that I think are just priced really wrong and that you can really take advantage on. Matt Fitzpatrick's one of them. This is a guy that could be priced up around $10,000. He's at $8,700. He's a guy that if he's not in all my lineups, he'll be in most of them. Last 2 times out, runner-up at the Players, won the Valspar, and again, his stats are pretty awesome. As I pull him up here, Fitzy, and he's got a great track record at the Masters as well. The only time he's missed a cut at the Masters was as an amateur in 2000, I think it was 2014. And other than that, he's been pretty solid. Maybe not threatening to win, but he's played well. And stats is what I meant to bring up here. I mean, look, strokes gained approach the green, 7th. Off the tee, 16th. Around the green, 22nd. Stroke gain total, 7th. Like, this guy's playing amazing, amazing golf right now and is priced in the 8K range. It's just, it baffles me. So I really like Matt Fitzpatrick. He's one of my favorite plays in the field this week. Obviously, you can see kind of his issue has been with the putter, but I'll tell you what, last couple of weeks the putter's been on, and when it's on, he's threatening to win every week, as you can see. So he'll be a guy in this range that I'm really looking to take advantage of. And here's where we kind of get into a little bit. The low 8Ks is not one of my favorite ranges for sure. I have a shocking amount of interest in Koepka, even after missing the cut last week. The guy just shows up in majors. He missed the cut at the Masters last year, which was a little bit weird. He's the last couple of years with Liv and in dealing with injuries. I don't want to say that we can totally just disregard that, but I think I feel a little more comfortable with how Brooks has played for the most part this year. Again, the Florida swing was good to him. T9 at PGA National, T13 at the Players, T18 at the Valspar. And again, like, I think he will probably go under owned. And I think he's a guy that could show up and put a good showing at the Masters. He's done it in the past. He's threatened to win a couple of times already. So in this lower 8K price range is just not very deep in my opinion. Like, I'm not really interested in McIntyre, even though he's played pretty decent. He kind of gagged away the tournament twice yesterday. He had a massive lead going into round 4, which he kind of let go and then brought all the way back and then choked massively on 18. Sorry about the dogs barking in the background. Again, I'm not really interested in Spieth or JT, Lowry. Goddard has been playing really good golf, but he's never played the Masters. The next guy that really catches my eye So again, like I said, the 8K range isn't really loaded. Again, I really like Fitzy. I'm kind of okay with Brooks, but other than that, like I probably am leaning more towards spending down a little bit. And the first guy whose name catches my eye is Patrick Cantlay. Like Cantlay, as interesting of a fellow as he is, he's priced way too cheap for as good a player as Patrick Cantlay is. His last time out at the Valspar, tied for 7th. The guy's just good, and he plays well at the Masters historically. So again, for me, there's a lot of value in Patrick Cantlay this week. I mean, not a great finish last year, T36, 24, 22nd, 23, 14th. Like, maybe that's why he's priced cheap, is because of his Masters history is not spectacular. But look, here's a guy that's kind of been there on Sundays before. So, look, I'm pretty okay with Cantlay at that price. He's just way too cheap. Now, we go down a couple of spots. We get to a guy that I really like, an Akshay Bhatia, who I think is maybe even more ridiculously priced than Matt Fitzpatrick. I mean, here's a guy that's playing pretty much neck for neck with him. Florida swing was really good for him. T16, I'm sorry, the Genesis isn't at Florida. He played the API and won it, and T13 at the Players. Again, you just look, he started the season out a little bit slow, missed the first 2 cuts, but then he just kicked into gear. T3 at the Waste Management, T6 at Pebble, 16th at the Genesis. Like, he's jumped into another dimension, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was him getting married. I don't know if it was him joining up with Jupiter Lynx with Tiger and the TGL, but something's got going for Akshay. He was supposed to play the Valspar and withdrew prior to the event and went and played some event over in India, which he struggled in the beginning of it. I don't really know how that event finished. Sorry, don't really follow the India Open. But look, Akshay has been one of the best players on tour this year. He's got a win already at a featured event at the API. And if we want to take a quick look at his stats for Akshay, I mean, they kind of tell the tale. 8th on tour in strokes gained, approaching the green, 10th in putting, 6th in strokes gained total. He's pretty solid with the short game. I mean, the weird spot has been he's not gaining strokes off the tee, which, again, that's been a history for him, that he can get a little erratic with the driver, which can cost you in big events. But honestly, it's been on. Like, in the last few events he's played, he's been better with the driver. And I really, again, I think Akshay is incredibly mispriced this week. And as we know, lefties have a little bit of an advantage at Augusta. They just do. There's 2 lefties that I know of in Bubba Watson and Phil Mickelson that have both won Masters multiple times. And Mike Weir, a former Masters champion, is a lefty. There may even be a 4th lefty that I'm forgetting that's won the Masters. So I really like Petit. I think he's incredibly mispriced, and he'll be another one of my favorite guys to line up for this week. Next guy down I want to talk about, as we're kind of going through the 7K range, is Corey Connors. And again, just a sort of a staple for my Masters picks every year. The guy just shows up at Augusta and plays well every year. Now, I'll show you his stats, which are a little bit interesting, and they really do, I think, with Corey, tell the tale, because he fits the build so well for Augusta, and I think that's why he continues to play well every year at the Masters. Strokes gain approach the green, 16th. He's a great strokes gain approach guy, and he's just steady. Like, I think it's a driving distance thing with Connors, why he's not ranked higher, doesn't gain strokes on the field off the tee, but he doesn't really get into trouble off the tee, and he hits a lot of greens, which is going to play incredibly well at Augusta. You're going to keep the big numbers off the board. Where he struggles, you can see it pretty clear, is with the putter. And it's got him a couple of years at the Masters, where, again, he's been top 10s, right on that first page of the leaderboard, hasn't really been able to turn a corner because, again, part of Augusta is it's one of the hardest places on tour, if not the hardest, to get up and down. And also, again, 3 putts become a thing. And if you're not putting well, to really compete at the Masters, you're going to have to make some longer putts, which in past years he's just struggled to make. But again, the putter's a weird thing. Like in golf, if you've played, you know. If you know, you know. It's one of the most volatile, probably the most volatile shot in the game. Like it can be off and it can be on, and again, you just don't. Some days you're just feeling it's so much of a feel club that some days it can be on, and if the putter happens to be on for Corey this weekend, we could see some really beautiful things happen. And again, just priced incredibly cheap. He's so affordable, and his history at the Masters is great. I think in both of the last 2 years, Corey Connors has been in the top 10. Yep, T8 last year, 2024, 38th, not his best. 23, he missed the cut, which was kind of weird. And 22 was a T6. Like, again, for a value guy, I mean, to me, I really like Corey Connors. Like, I kind of teased this earlier, but I did make some money on him last year, betting him to be the low Canadian, which was, I think there was more Canadians in the field last year, but I don't know if that'll be another offered bet this year. But if it is, I'll be on it again. He's a guy that consistently plays well at Augusta. So for value guys, I like Corey Connors to be playing on Sunday, and again, to be around the final page of the leaderboard. One of my hold on a second here. One of my more kind of contrarian plays this week is Jason Day. And probably because he doesn't, I'll show you what I mean here. He doesn't really fit the bill, so to speak, for, like a kind of the archetype that you think of for guys that are going to thrive at the Masters, guys that hit a lot of greens, gain strokes off the tee. Like that's not really J Day's calling card. He thrives in the kind of the opposite direction. He's elite around the green, one of the best on tour and one of the best putters. And that's where he gets it done. When he misses greens, he can get up and down. And for that reason, he's able to keep big numbers off the card, which is massive at Augusta. Now, again, he's certainly not in the top in strokes gained on approach. That's honestly his worst stat category, which is kind of weird for me to be picking him at the Masters, that being the case. But again, like 32nd in strokes gained total on the tour. He chips and putts incredibly well. And if he has a great, couple of days with the irons, I really like Jason Day. Like, he may not threaten to win, but again, we're talking about value guys right now. Like is this Jason Day? No, I'm looking at Corey Connors still. Okay, let's look at Jason Day. In last year at the Masters, he was T8. And he's got a runner-up finish in his history at the Masters. In 2024, he was T30. I think 3 might have been the year he missed the cut. No, T39. Then you go back a little bit, he had the vertigo issues and dealt with a lot of injuries with his back. So, again, like, I think Jason Day, and again, his last time out at the Texas Children's T6, like, the guy's playing good golf. He really is, even for an older guy that kind of flies under the radar. So, for a guy for a value guy that you can put into your lineups, that probably not too many guys are going to be on, I really like Jason Day for this weekend. And right under him, I like Cam Smith as well. It's kind of, again, he's really been a guy that's sort of faded a bit since he went over to LIV. He won the Open Championship. He won the Players a few years back and really had a hot run. Then went over to LIV and has kind of been a little bit quiet. But look, the guy's numbers still kind of speak for themselves. Like, for themselves. Like, Cam Smith is number 1 in putting on the LIV Tour. He's always been a great putter. And he's also one of the top guys on LIV in birdies, I believe. Yep, number 6, tied with Bryson DeChambeau. Like, this guy is a great, in his history at the Masters is awesome. Like, I think, was it last year? I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking a little bit. He had a miscut at the Masters, which was kind of weird. I think it was last year, if my memory serves me, as I look for Cam here. There he is. And honestly, just last year wasn't a great year until he started playing a little better towards the end of last year, but just wasn't an amazing year for the mullet. missed the cut at the Masters, but if we go and look back before that, 2024 T6, 2023 T34, 2022 T3, 2021 T10, and I think in 2020, which was the weird year, he was right there as well, T2. Like, this guy plays well at Augusta. His game carries. He can putt the lights out, and when that's on, he's draining putts. Like, look out for a guy at his price. I mean, at 7,500, he's a guy that could threaten to win. Like, he really could. And again, so him and Jason Day being priced next to each other, I don't know. Again, it could be possible, depending on how you're structuring your lineups, that you get both these guys in as sort of your lower tier. But there are other guys in this range that I do like. Nikolai Højgaard, who was just added to the field this past week, has been another one of the hottest players on the tour. T2 at the Texas Children's a few weeks ago. He had a T6 at PGA National, which is a very tight, tough golf course. T3 at the Waste Management. The guy's been playing awesome golf. He's priced, again, another guy that's just priced way too freaking cheap. And I think there's a lot of, I might even like him to contend to win, to be honest. Like, he could be an interesting long shot in that category. We look at Højgaard's stats for this season. I mean, look at it. Number 12 in strokes gained, approach the green. He's putting really well. He's number 9 in strokes gained total. He's 48, which isn't elite, but still solid in strokes gained off the tee. Like, this has been one of the best all-around golfers on tour for the 2026 season, and nobody is really talking about him. I just happen to notice that he's on the leaderboard like every weekend. He's just there. And I happen to, learn that he was a late entry to the Masters, and it kind of was shocking to me. He barely crept into the top 50 in the world, which, it's surprising that it took him that long. There's his twin brother Rasmus that's playing as well. But Nikolai is the guy I'm really looking at. He missed the cut last year at the Masters. He's played at the Masters twice. 2024, he was T16. So look, he can get it done at the Masters. He's again been a top 20 guy before. Obviously, the missed cut last year is not optimal, but again, he's playing great golf. He's played the Masters twice. I like Nikolai Højgaard a lot. I think he's, as far as value guys go, like, he is just way too cheap. And that the same goes for, it's the same story with Jake Knapp at 74. Just way too cheap for how good a golf this guy has played. Aside from missing the cut at the Players, he's been in the top 11 the entire season, every week. I mean, tell me a more consistent player on tour this year. I would love to hear who it is. I mean, maybe you could argue Akshay Bhatia, but Jake Knapp is about as consistent as they get. He's number 1 on tour in strokes gained overall, I believe, is what I saw. I'll go back and try to find that. Yeah, number 1 in strokes gained total, number 2 on the tour in putting, and he actually has a decent, I mean, it's not lengthy, but when Knapp has played at the Masters, he's played well. 2024 was his only Masters, and he made the cut, which, again, is not an easy thing to do in your first Masters, and I think he's playing as good a golf, like I said, as he's ever played. He's motivated. He unfortunately had some tragedy in his personal life, which I won't dive into. But a really feel-good story to root for with Jake, and he's played incredibly well. It seems like he's really dialed in his game. And honestly, again, another guy that I just love this week at the Masters. And as we really now sort of get into the salary savers and the basically the salary savers. I mean, there's interesting names here. I mean, Harry English is a guy that historically has played well. If you're really trying to save salary, you can kind of get down. Gary Woodland just won last week. What I was interested at Gary Woodland that I hadn't taken a look at prior was what his history is like at the Masters. Obviously, an incredibly awesome story, him coming back from the brain surgery and PTSD and everything that he's been through to win last week was amazing, and to earn a spot in the Masters. I'm not really sure, again, what his Masters history looks like. So he missed the cut in 2024. 23, he was T14. 22, missed a cut. So again, his Masters history hasn't been great, and for that reason, I'll probably stay off of Gary, even though, again, on a personal note, I'll root for him. But just interesting, worth mentioning. I'll tell you what, this range here is very interesting with the low 7,000s with Adam Scott and JJ Spawn, probably my two favorite guys here in this region. And look, Adam Scott's a former champ, and he's playing solid golf. Like, he really is. T4 at the Genesis, T11 at the Arnold Palmer. Like Justin Rose, one of the older guys that are still playing on tour every week. T21 at the Texas Children's. And if we take a look at Adam's stats, I mean, look, number 3 on tour strokes gained approach. Like, his game still plays at the Masters. It's strokes gained total. He's number 21. He's gaining strokes off the tee. I think he's 44 years old now. Maybe he turned 45. I'm not positive about that. But again, Adam Scott can still play and can definitely play at the Masters. Masters is a very important tournament to him. Obviously, he's won it and always looks to show out, I should say, at the Masters. So I'm okay with Adam Scott. I'm also okay with JJ Spawn, who literally won yesterday. Literally won on tour. It's been a really up and down season for him. Probably why he's priced so cheap after he had a really great year last year. And I think Spawn actually has a pretty good history at the Masters, if my memory serves me. Where is Spawn? There he is, JJ. 2025 50th, again, nothing to write home about. 2020, so he hasn't had a lot of history at the Masters. And again, probably one of the reasons why he's so cheap. But again, like for a sixth guy in the lineup, or I mean, again, like he's playing good golf. Like, I don't mind JJ Spawn or Adam Scott potentially in this region. Another long shot guy that's interesting is Sergio Garcia, former champion, playing well on LIV. I looked at this a little bit earlier. He's number 2 in greens and reg on the LIV Tour. Like, for Sergio Garcia, like, again, a guy that you would have to expect will go out and make the cut for, again, a guy who's more than likely going to be the last guy in your lineup, probably your cheapest guy, your salary-saving kind of play. I mean, why not it be Sergio Garcia? Like, let's see, last year at the Masters, he missed the cut last year. 24, missed the, oh, geez. Okay, well, 3 years in a row, Sergio's missed the cut. Holy moly. All right, well, look, I'll say this much. If you look at the numbers, last year was not a good year for Sergio. He's playing, apparently, since then, he's playing better golf. If you look towards the end of last year with the tournaments on LIV, and obviously he's hitting greens, which is important to Masters. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be gaining strokes off the tee, but again, for a salary-saving option, again, you could kind of scroll down, and there's some other interesting guys here, like Dustin Johnson, who's a former champion, like T3 in his last tournament towards the end of last year on LIV. Again, I don't know if I will really find myself down in this region much unless I'm really trying to jam some spend-up guys in. But there are a few. Nico Echeverria is another interesting guy, like sort of hit or miss, but he does have a win this year at PGA National, which is at the Cognizant, which is definitely not an easy tournament to win at all. Like, it's a tough test and definitely an interesting one to look at. Nico Echeverria, that's who we're looking for. So let's take a look. Nico stats again. We're talking about a lower tier guy, but again, his best categories are approaching the green and putting. So again, and he's having a pretty good year. I think his Masters history actually isn't terribly bad either. I think he's actually had a little bit of success in the past at the Masters. So 2025 was his only Masters, and he made the cut, which is good again for a guy at 6,700. Like, again, I don't hate it. Like, if I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, like, he's a guy I'm okay with. Michael Kim is another one. T2, almost. I mean, he played incredibly well down the stretch yesterday, And again, he's missed a few cuts this year, but overall, like for a relatively unknown, like Michael Kim is not. I mean, again, not the worst option for a guy that's strictly in the salary saving category. And look, the guy's a good putter. Strokes gained around the green's good. Other than that, not amazing. But again, I hate to go to recency bias, but the guy's in really good form. And I mean, again, we're talking strictly salary saving. 2025 was basically his only recent Masters appearance, and it was T27. I like that. Again, if I'm going to totally go to the bottom of the barrel and try to salary save, like, I'm pretty okay with that. Other than that, that pretty much does it for me. Like, I don't think I'm really Bubba. He took 14th in the Masters last year. I mean, look, Bubba plays well at Augusta. He just does. Like 6,300. If you really, really need to scrape the bottom, like Bubba is certainly a fun guy to be the last guy in the lineup. So I'm about it. So let's jump over here to Hard Rock just to kind of take a quick look. I'm going to refresh it here because there were some bets that weren't showing when I launched it earlier. And again, not a lot of shocks here. I mean, Oberg at 1,600. Obviously, I like. Bryson's over 1,000, which is fine. Cam Young at 2. Rosie at 3. Let's see who else we got here. Akshay at 6. Højgaard at 6. Knapp at 6. Like, these three guys, I think, are very interesting bets for sure. Let's see here. The nationality bets are always fun. Like, top Asian. Decky at plus 120. I don't know. That one's a little bit weird. I don't know if I'll necessarily go there. Continental European English. Top English is interesting. Rosie at 350 or Fitzy at 250 could both be really interesting bets there. Top Nordic, Oberg, Højgaard. I don't know. Probably seems like Oberg or Nikolai Højgaard would be my picks there. UK and Irish, rest of world. So yeah, they don't have the Canadian bet because I just don't know how many are in the field, but that's you. I would definitely look at that. Specials. This is always an interesting one. Will there be a hole-in-one during the tournament? Yes is minus 150. That's crazy to me. And no is at plus 110. I mean, look, I know 16 at the Masters, a lot of hole-in-ones have been made there. I think 24 of them historically, but again, to get plus odds that they're not a hole-in-one during the tournament is pretty crazy. So that could be another really fun bet to get in on for the Masters this week. But yeah, I mean, matchups, these are kind of interesting for like first round stuff. Fleetwood Shoffley, let's see if there's any that really jump out at me. Bryson Rory, oh my God, just give me Bryson there at plus 105. Let's see, Cantlay Henley, Young Oberg, that's tough. Rahm Scheffler. Wow, I mean, that's tempting to take John Rahm at plus money. Brooks Koepka, Pat Reed. Oh, give me Batia over Berger, although he's way favored in that matchup, as to kind of be expected. Rose over Spieth, 100% in that one. Give me Nikolai over Rasmus in the Battle of the Twins. Oh, my God, Fitzpatrick, 100% over Bobby Mack. Yeah, so, again, that's sort of where I'm at for the Masters. As more information potentially gets revealed, I might leak some more stuff onto social media, stuff like that. I do have a full write-up of, my Masters picks and why I picked them and stuff like that. If you want a little more in-depth, completely free, just reach out to me. I don't usually see my comments all that quick on YouTube, but if you want to reach out to me on socials, at the Fletch Factor, both Instagram as well as Instagram, TikTok. If you have my Facebook or if you know me personally, shoot me a text, and I'm happy to send you a copy of my write-up, which will be coming out pretty soon as well. So with that, I am going to say I'm going to bid you adieu, and as always, best of luck in your contests, and hopefully this is another weekend unlike any other.